Alright guys, this ice cream van here is Rio's, the best in Folkestone. Yay. Hey YouTubers, this is Carberry. This video is main video about ice cream van chimes. Those of you, this video has been requested by lots of people to figure out how they work and how to wire them up. Well, I've learnt over the years how to wire them up, and I've gone through a few mistakes, of course, as you do, but you don't really want those mistakes when you have them with ice cream chimes, because sometimes you might blow something up that's rare, because a lot of chimes nowadays they don't make. So if you end up blowing a rare box, you're buggered really, because it'd probably take a long time to fix or wire back up. Or if it's a wind-up one, you're going to have trouble because they don't make wind-up amps anymore, and if there is one, it's quite hard to find. I mean, there are a few on eBay every month or so, you'd see one knocking about, but I haven't got enough money to pay for it at the moment, because I've had to buy another box because it was an emergency and I had to get it because, well, it was cheaper than it should be normally, because the box from Micro Miniatures, as you know, I have got a new box which is solo here. I've got the Hex, I've got Harvin multi-tune, the triple one. I haven't got the big multi-tune, which is a shame. I am looking out for one of them. If I do see one and I've got the money at the time, I will get it. But if I haven't got the money, like last time when I saw one, I couldn't get it. I tried to bid on one once, but I lost the bids. But I did try and win once. And the reason the music box isn't playing through the amp anymore is because I blew the amp up a couple of months back. I blew it up, and yeah, so basically the reason it blew up is because I had loads of chimes wired up on this big thing, and the problem was that obviously you got to make little bits on the red wire to connect the other Harvins, like little split bits here and there through here, and basically one of these bits on the wire where you connect another wire from, let's say, that box to connect to this wire to play. So when you unplug that one, you plug that one in, basically to get them both to do that. You need a split. So obviously I unwired one of them, and I forgot to cover up the gap in the wire. And obviously, because all the wires are all over the place, when I turned the Harmony 64 on, it started making a funny noise. I was like, okay, that doesn't sound good. So I turned that off. And then the most terrible thing happened, didn't it? I went to turn on a wind-up, and it just cut out and just made this horrible steam, just blew everywhere, and it just gave me an electric shock, and I just went flying. Like, I across and landed on a bag. I nearly landed on this metal thing, but I didn't, which was lucky. But it's sad because my amp's blown. I tried to figure out what was wrong with it, and it's the same problem as my other one that I blew that time before. It's the same thing. The coil blew, as you can see there, there's all that mark. That's it blown. And then if I show you the wire that is blown as well, you can see there inside that it's black and it's been burnt. So I thought, well, it's buggered now and it's going to be a pain to fix, so I thought I'd just take it apart and get what I need off of it. And the most important part of a broken amp is this piece here. This one is a 2 plug, and it plugs in to there and it wires up. This one goes directly, I think it's directly to the horn actually, that one, that's a horn wire. This one here, that's battery. I think that's battery. Yeah, it is. That's battery. So that's battery, and then that's horn. So yeah, the battery was the one that caused the problem, because obviously the red wire touched the black wire, which was on this wire here, which was trying to wire out those boxes, and that's how it blew. I didn't know that at the time it blew. I didn't realise what blew it up. But as I checked later on when it was too late, I saw the bit in the gap of the wire, and it was very close to the black wire. So I reckon it's because when I went to move the wire across, it probably was already touching it when I turned it on, but I didn't realise before I turned it on that it was touching it. If I'd have known it before I'd turned it on, I'd have been able to move it out of the way and I'd have turned it on and it'd have been fine, but obviously not. So yeah, I got 2 blown up amps. This one's my favourite amp, which I never even got to play in the first place because I wired up the horn wires to the battery wires when I first had this amp. This was ages ago. This is when I first started getting chimes. This is my favourite amp. It's got MP3 like, on, which is back to digital, and then off is analog. And as you can see, it's got the 2 plugs. Now I'd love to get this fixed. The only problem with this is the exact same problem as that one. The coil's blown. So if I get another amp, I want to see if I can take the parts out of that one and put it in the other one. That was the idea with that one, but now that's blown. I might as well just flog that to an ice cream man who's good at fixing amps, or flog it on eBay at some point if I can, for parts probably. I might sell it for 50 quid maybe, I don't know. Maybe less than that. This is the Harrow Lime. This won't play because obviously it's got an old plug at the moment, but this originally had the free plug. I found a company that Harvin get their plugs from, and they have those plugs for sale. So I'm going to buy a plug, but I just haven't had time to do it yet. But when I get the plug, I'm going to chop off here, not right there, I'm going to chop off about here, so you leave a bit of leeway to solder this into, or wire it into. I'll tell you what I'm going to wire it into. Dr. Zhivago. This is Dr. Zhivago. The reason the plug's buggered on Dr. Zhivago is because when I plugged it into the amp when it was working, when I unplugged it, the bloody plug broke because it was it was already on loose when I bought it actually. The first time I plugged it in, it was already loose, so that's buggered. But I'm putting the Harrow Line plug on that, but not until, I'm not doing that until I've got the new plug and I know exactly what wires I'm wiring in as soon as that's on. So that will eventually be plugging in the new amp, and yeah, that should have a new plug, and then eventually I'll get a new amp which will be using the wind-ups on, and then eventually fix the MP3 thing and sort that one out. Plus I'm looking for Harmony 64, because obviously I've swapped my Harmony 64 for a Hex box off an Ice Cream Man, which is a really nice Ice Cream Man. And this one I bought off an Ice Cream Man as well. It's a lot cheaper than what they sell for normally. £100, which I pay for this one. Normally they're £220, so that's pretty good going. But if I ever do sell this, I'll probably sell it on for £150 if I ever do in the future, but I probably won't sell it because I like the box. Plus it's my little capture there. So yeah, let's wire this up and get it moving. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is the battery. As you can see, here is red and here is black. Now you may know that red is left and red is plus and black is take away. Now some people get confused and they go, oh, what the hell does brown mean? Or what the hell does blue mean? Or what the hell does white mean? Or what the hell does grey mean? Like, you know what I mean? It's like all different coloured wires, or white, or there's some of them are very, very dark black, or so whatever. Anyways, This here is battery wire, is normally the red and the black. So on here, as you can see, this is red and black, so they're battery. This is in a big tube wire. Now you recognise that tube wire. This matches this one. Now on the horn, it's got a white wire and it's got a black wire. People are like, what's white mean? White means, in terms, take away, which is add. No, white is red, basically. So that white wire is red. Black is obviously black, because it can't be one or the other. So that is plus, that is take away. So what you do, you find the wire on here and you're like, blue. Blue is the nearest to black, so blue is black. Brown is nearest to red, so that is red. So that will be, obviously the white wire will connect onto the brown and the black will connect onto the blue. With this one, you're like, oh, this one looks so lighter red. That's because it's old, probably. So that's battery. Obviously, as you see, there's a grey wire and a white wire. Now white, as you remember, means red. So obviously the white goes on the white. The black, the grey is nearer to black. And plus grey is horn, because that is horn. So you can instantly recognise that those wires are horn and those battery. Remember that. So white is red. Brown is red. And black is black, blue is black, and grey is black. So if you see any of those on horn wires, that's what that means. Or that is obviously horn. So yeah, Harmony 64 has a brown wire and a blue wire. The blue wire is black and the brown is red. And then this is the battery. But remember, wire up the horn first before you wire the battery. Because once this, when I got this, it was already switched on number 1. So, because it was already switched on number 1, when I wired it up, it sparked a bit and made the noise. So I had to turn it off quick. And then, yeah. So make sure you wire up the horn first. Make sure the buttons are all off. And then wire the black wire first, then the red wire last. Because the red wire is a more powerful wire. Because obviously on this one, this has just got a red wire and a plug. The red wire goes to battery, which connects to the same red wire on the amp that goes to the battery. That's why there's 2 split wires there. This one here is battery. That is horn. Now, some people get confused and they think, oh, does red go? As you can see on this sheet here, it clearly demonstrates how this works. As you can see, that's the blue wire and that's the brown wire. So that means that blue is black and brown is red. Obviously that's a bit of a lighter blue, but it's meant to be darker really. So don't be confused, don't think that's white and that's black, because it's not. That is red, because there's no white wire on this one. There is on my horn though for some reason, so just remember the white is red, so you best put the white here and the black here, because blue is black. So yeah, that goes in the horn, and then you've got the battery wires here, and then that connects to that wire, and then it goes straight in there, so you can see what it means. And there we go. So yeah, thanks guys, thanks for watching, and part 2 coming soon.